play this record as frequently as possible.
Welcome to Hard Hats and Hootenannies 6th episode. Today we got a banger of an episode. We got a double header. Two of the boys are in-house. One we've had here before and one brand spanky new one. Dirty Mike and the boys, welcome. I guess where should I start? Let's start with you.
I don't know. I have no notes.
You don't have any notes. You don't need
notes. I was trying to make some notes, but nothing's very important. Anyways, go ahead.
Well,
You got questions?
yeah, I got questions.
Topic?
Yeah, and our second guest from the past, banging girls that shouldn't be mentioned. What's going on today?
Well, there was one over a couple nights ago.
Oh, we don't need to know.
No,
I don't really care.
you don't know. You don't want any pig party info.
No, we don't. So I think I'm gonna give you guys names because how am I supposed to direct questions? I'm gonna call you.
Idea.
I'm gonna call you Caterpillar, since you're wearing a caterpillar toque.
Oh no, it's gonna give my identity away there.
And then I'll just call you Pig Boy.
Call me Pickle Dick at work.
Pickle Dick? All right, I'll call you that. Actually, I don't want to call you Caterpillar. It just sounds fucking lame.
Yeah, call me whatever. Look at me.
Okay,
I'll
well,
respond.
I'll call you Guy. Guy Fieri.
Guy.
So Guy, you have your own business. Another guy on the pod with his own business. A little bit different type business, more hands-on. What do you do?
I guess you describe it as a small excavating business. Definitely not as accomplished yet as the previous guest, but just mainly dealing with.
The previous guest doesn't own his own business anymore, but he's definitely owned it for how many years? He been doing it?
2.5 maybe now. Pretty new.
Yeah, I guess he did it for. Fuck, I can't remember. He didn't even say.
I couldn't remember either, but I'm sure he sold it off for a good amount or something. Like he built that company.
Yeah, I
Wow,
think he did
pretty
sell
good.
it off.
Who was it?
Like he was doing good.
My like 2 guests ago. Johnny Bravo, looking guy.
How would you describe it?
I just bleep his
I don't
name.
think you would hang
he's
out.
from Ashern.
Oh yeah.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yep.
So, you used to work for the railroad just like me. Well, you did a little more than me because you were a little more important than me. But then the COVID came.
Yeah, well, working on one of the big railroads for like 10 years, I guess, and then COVID came. They laid everybody off. Though wasn't gonna get the flu shot, and start my own business instead.
Yeah, just moved on from there. They
Oh,
did
not
you dirty
really
a little.
either. Like, I just needed something to do, some income at the meantime, so that's what I did. And then by the time they called me back, it was about a year. So
Yeah,
Like,
but
what
it's
I-
funny because you went in and then quit, right?
yeah, just to be official, go in for a day, then quit because really at my own business I was making more and having more days off ever before and a family life and being at home, not working on the road anymore.
Yeah, but like what cycle are you on? Like 8 and 6?
Yeah, I was on the 8 and 6.
They're changing it now, hey?
I heard because I'm technically still part of the union, so I keep getting texts and emails about the union, like I can vote and everything.
What?
And I haven't
What?
been there for 2 years, and I officially quit, but I can still have influence in the union, which is hilarious.
crazy.
So I've been like sending my my old crew members the union updates and stuff because they don't get them. I still don't understand why.
Or they forgot to take you off the call list?
I guess so.
That's
and like
weird.
my guys there, they didn't care to get on the call list or anything, but I was their foreman, so I was trying to get as much information as I could for them.
Oh, so I guess you could relay to the boys?
Yeah, and so I know they still don't get it, so I email or text them once in a while. It's pretty funny. But it's looking like their wages and their per diems and stuff are going to go up and things.
That's
and
just kind of greasy.
What are they switching their shift to?
I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that.
Well, actually, I think they got rid of the 10 and 4 a long time ago,
Yeah, it's 9 and 5 now.
and they're getting rid of that. Actually, I think they're going just everyone's doing 8 and 6. That's just the
That's nice
standard
because
now.
it was a nice schedule. But if they don't come to agreement, I read, then everyone's on 5 and 2 until they come to an agreement.
Yeah,
So
I don't know
imagine
how that's going to
fucked
work
up-
out.
Yeah, imagine how a big gang, like you're working
In the middle of
3
nowhere.
provinces away and you get 2 days off, you're not going anywhere. So now the railway is going to hold you like a slave
Hmm.
if you don't come to agreement on scheduling.
Yeah, I'm sure they will, because 8 and 6, like 6 days off is pretty sweet. Like the competitor railroad does 7 and 7.
Yeah, that's the golden one everybody wants.
Oh,
but
I love that shift. It was
management doesn't
awesome.
want that.
I made, honestly, the most money I made was on the 7 and 7.
'Cause you didn't have a
But I
second
worked
job.
back to back 7 and 7s. I didn't stop. It was just better.
Oh, because you could just hop on the opposite cycle, right?
Yeah, like steel gangs is what I was on. You could do 7, and then if you don't want to go home, you could do another 7 with the following, because you just get a different supervisor. The supervisor will go home for his 7. You could stay if you want. Or he could stay
I don't know
too.
how legal that is.
How
but
does that work for overtime then? You're just always getting overtime?
Well, the way my company works with overtime, it's after 40. So like I would get that in, well, it's 11-hour shifts. So
Yeah, but with trying to screw you out of overtime all the time, so if you kept working, then you'd have to pay overtime, where the previous 7 they wouldn't, because they'd be like, oh, well, you got to work 80 in 14 days. And it's like, that's pretty,
well,
like, at least like where I work now, it's if you work outside of your normal, like 8-hour day work schedule, straight double time. Doesn't matter.
Oh, no,
you
like,
can be on vacation all week and then work the weekend.
No,
and then
it-
get overtime and then go back to being on vacation during the week.
well, for me, like the cutoff would be like paydays, or like pay cutoff week, or whatever it's called.
Your pay period.
Yeah.
ending,
So I could work as many hours as I want within 7 days, and then after that it resets. So like if I just do a 7 and then a 7, it's if I work like 11s for the entire 7. So what's that? A lot of hours.
Yeah, 77.
Yeah, 77 hours in 7 days, and then that's what I would get paid for that week, and then 77 for the next.
Yeah,
and
so
it would
it's a
just keep
normal
going.
setup, but wasn't your setup weird? Didn't you not get overtime, even though because you worked 10s, 10/8s or something?
It was 10-hour
Or
days,
8/10s?
so anything after the 10 hours you get overtime, but it's not like a cumulative like during the week. It's per day for overtime.
Well, a buddy
Yeah, because your agreement was based on an
buddy of
8-day
mine that
cycle.
works at
Yeah.
CAT, when he was up north, he asked to stay another week. That is kind of like what you're talking about. That week he stayed was triple time.
Yeah,
See, that's nice. At where I worked, there was no double time, there was no triple. It was only time and a half. Even if you were working on a holiday itself, that day is just time and a half.
For me,
That's
I
it.
kind of get screwed out of the holidays. Well, not really. I'll get 8 hours. Like if I work Canada Day, for example, if I work Canada Day, it's 8 hours on my ADP. So like where I put my hours in. So I'll get 8 hours there, and then whatever I put in. So, but if I put in, like say I only worked 40 hours that week, including that 8, that's not even overtime.
Oh yeah, I guess that's how
that
it would
day
work, right?
Yeah, but that day should be you should get an additional 8 hours regardless.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll
that's
get
true,
I'll get
yeah.
the additional regular pay 8 hours, and
Yeah.
if I work 8 hours, so I'll get a total of 16 on that day. But let's just say I only work 40 that entire week, I don't get any overtime.
Oh, that sucks.
It's just straight pay, straight time. Even,
That's weird because
That's
the day should be.
but that's just how it would work out with the cycle. So say my cycle ended that Wednesday, in Canada Day was Monday. So say I got paid, I worked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but only made 40 hours, including that extra 8. I wouldn't get paid overtime. I would
That's
just
garbage.
get 40 hours in less days.
That's greasy.
Yeah.
But that's just how it's always worked for me.
Because we'd get double time, and depending on which holiday, because they're all different for some reason, you'd get a day in lieu, so you'd get an extra day off.
Yeah, we don't get day and lose ever. I wish we did, because it would be pretty sweet. If we did, then I would take the extra 8 I work every week, because I work 4 10s and an 8. If I work that Friday, that's just pure overtime, right? because
Can
it's
you-
after 40.
Can you bank your overtime?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I wish we could do, because then I would be, oh, I'll just bank this and not get paid for it, and then but later on I want to have a paid day off, like just
Yeah,
regular.
here's the problem with banking overtime though, because the place that I worked at, in the system they allowed for banking overtime because you could input it, but there was a discrepancy between the union and the company of how much you could bank, like if it was regarded as like a 1-to-1, so like 1 hour is 1 hour, or is 1 hour of overtime at time and a half, so 1.5 hours technically
It should
putting
be.
it in.
Should be 1.5 times.
Nobody could agree, so management would just say no banking overtime, or it would be like an under the table type banking where
oh,
it's
like
just
the
up to the
IOU.
Oh,
Yeah.
back of the book time.
I don't
yeah.
like
but
that.
they still couldn't agree if it was at 1-to-1 or 1.5.
Yeah, ours is like at our rate, at our regular, at our whatever our rate is. So if you work double or triple, so if I work 10 hours on a Saturday, then I got 20 hours banked.
That's nice. So
But they really don't like it when you do that. So you have a limit for how much you can bank in a year, and you can only fill your bank once in a year.
oh yeah, we weren't even allowed to put it in the system. Like it was just like do it under the table only in your within your group, settle it out. Otherwise,
Well,
so
when do you
in
get
my
double
case-
time?
After 8 hours, and
It's
they-
always double time, or do you get time and a half, or
the only time we do get time and a half, but that's like a stipend, I guess, it's a whatever, more or less as a taxable benefit. The only time you get time and a half is doing helicopter work. Like if you're hanging from a helicopter, you get time and a half, but it's not like you don't get triple time when you're on double. So really, it's like half your wage, right? So you get
The-
$25 an hour to hang under a helicopter, essentially.
But my company's kind of weird. Like we'll do like helpers get time and a half. Like if you're hourly, you get time and a half as your overtime. No, that's it. Like no higher than that.
Yeah.
If you're a supervisor of the truck, because your salary, you get time and a quarter. And apparently at one time they didn't even have that, which is just ridiculous. When I was at my previous job fixing trucks at a dealership, I got double time after 8 and quad time after 4 hours of overtime. It was sick. But never did I ever, once a year would that happen. Basically, like very little overtime. But
Yeah.
the pay was actually not that good, because it was only like I'd work 4 hours of time or double time, and then like 1 hour of quad. So it'd be like, and then tax the fuck.
yeah.
So big Trudy. Well, I guess at that time it wasn't, but
That's all the
They
business-
shortened our hours of work by 2 hours now, so we get triple time after 14.
well, that's pretty sweet. Especially if you're on call.
Are you guys allowed to work over?
Not allowed to work over 16. Like you can, but
Well,
it's
that's
like
funny because at
sketchy.
the place I worked at, the railroad, when I was in, it was 16, but somehow we still just worked 24 hours a day, no problem. Like if it was a derailment or something.
Oh yeah.
And then they started cracking down, and then it was like, yeah, only 16, or you'd be in trouble or whatever. And then it went down to 14, and now it's to 12.
The sad part about the railway is they're big into safety until they need something done right now.
Well, they're not even big into safety. They're big into preaching it because that's how the whole population is going. Just freaking safety, safety, safety. Like nobody can take account of their own bodily safety. Like
Well,
we need management telling us what we can and can't do all the time for every single little thing.
like I remember like they're like right now they're super big into driver safety, but frick, I could remember like 2 years ago I had to drive, like I was in BC and I had to drive like 16 hours and back in one day. Actually longer. I worked in the morning like 7 to like 1, and then from 1 I drove all 16 hours to Prince George. And then there I couldn't fill up any more fuel in the truck because the fuel card has a limit of how many times you could use it in a day. So I had to wait till midnight. So I went to a hotel, slept for 3 hours, then drove to frickin' Prince Rupert.
Yeah, but
Another
did you
5
have to do
hours.
that? Did you have to do that though?
Oh yeah, because they needed that shit like the next day.
Yeah, but couldn't you say like, "Okay, this is freaking unsafe"? Like, if
Well,
you're
I
preaching
mean, I could have
safety-
said that, but like, that's what
That
I'm
is
trying to
unsafe.
get at. Like, it's almost like they tell you to do something, they're like, oh, it's fine, you could do it, and then but it's like, frick, that's a lot of driving. Like a total drive was like 30 some hours by the time I got back. Like,
Yeah, that's insane, especially in the mountains.
oh yeah, like, and then I had like 8 hour sleep in between that. So like the longest was 22 hours. I think I drove like just to do something stupid. It was dumb too. It was like, oh, bring this BTMF to Prince George, then pick up Buddy and Smithers, and then drive to Prince Rupert and pick up another guy, then drive back to Smithers, transfer a bunch of stuff over because another guy was coming with a thermite truck, and then he had to take, and then both me and him drove from Smithers to Kamloops, and then that's when I slept. And then
Well, at least in my position, we weren't put in those positions. Like, I think I had a pretty good supervisor.
well, plus
who
you guys are
was-
unionized, so like you could just, you know,
Yeah.
deny it. Like
Yeah,
I'm
true.
not unionized, and if I deny it, then, you know, you almost have to be kind of a yes man to work at this company. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the railway in general is like a kind of slave culture anyways. The
Mm.
bigger ones that I was in were moving towards a better work environment, I guess. But like the smaller contractors, like our other buddy works on too. I worked there. And,
oh yeah, if you don't,
you
if
just
you
gotta
say
work.
no, then you'll just find someone else.
Yeah,
like,
you just got to work and keep going.
like if you want to get paid, like you got to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Like no matter what it is, even if it's shit. Like when I first started on the railway, I literally said yes to everything. Oh, we need you to drive like 5 hours to drop off a part right now.
Which
Okay.
isn't a problem. Like if you're young and willing and able to do it, you make a lot of money doing that.
Oh yeah, and I definitely did make quite a bit of money. Like I don't know.
But like settling into that career and planning on retiring there, well, you want it a little more sustainable. Like, it's not going to kill your body.
Well, and
after
that's
a
the
while.
thing. Like, and I discussed this with some of the boys at work. Like, I feel like right now my position at work is just because I'm ticketed mechanic. Like, they're just going to keep me in one spot the entire time, and I have like there's no way to grow. Like, even my brother was telling me yesterday that he applied to be a manager at where he's working right now, and he has like a business degree, and he's ticketed welder, journeyman. Like he's fully done both of those things.
Yeah, he's got the
And
whole thing.
you know who got hired as a supervisor was HR's son, who's 25, has no idea what my brother does welding wise, because that would be technically the welding boss of that specific area. And so he got hired because his mom is in HR, and his mom is having sex with one of the owner's kids. So
That's
my
pathetic.
brother's like talking to one of the managers, and he's like, so, you know, the manager's like, yeah, well, you didn't get the job. And my brother's like, well, what could I do to, like, why? And he's like, well, you do have your business degree and you are a ticketed welder. And
Yeah,
then
the
my
most
brother's
qualified
like,
person here.
yeah. And my brother's like, are you fucking with me right now? Like, what? And then, well, he was telling my brother what he already has. He was saying, well, that guy, you know, he's been at the company for a while, and he also knows a little about business, but he doesn't have a degree, and he just started practicing welding at home. And then my brother's like, what the fuck? Like,
You know, people like that, like
unqualified.
companies like that need to freaking be taught a lesson. Like your brother should just leave. I mean,
well,
it's not going to show a big point, but if enough people just leave because of
shitty decisions.
unprofessional, like shit like that going
Yeah,
on.
and that's an similar situation with me. So it kind of resonated with me. I was like, well, you know what? Like when I applied for foreman, I definitely have most shop time. I'm a, you know,
And the foreman's still
than
in the shop,
anyone
right?
at my company. And you know who they hired? They hired a guy who has like been with my company for 13 years. So they just automatically assumed he knows a lot, but he knew literally nothing. And look where he is now. He got fired.
Well, I did hear your other podcast about saying the slow quitting and stuff.
Or quiet quitting.
Yeah, quiet quitting. So I was wondering, did you start noticing yourself doing that prior or after?
Not in the beginning. Because in the beginning, you know, I really, really like my boss. He's a good guy, and I don't want to do him dirty, but like lately, like it's been like just want to quit and not
Yeah, so
work.
kind of like after that shot.
Well, once he got fired,
Shot that you
and
made.
then they were looking for a foreman, and it just kind of pissed me off that like maybe you wouldn't think of someone that's already in the shop that already knows what's going on here instead. And I already know right away as soon as they release. They're like say I think they're going to start looking for a foreman soon. And if they do, they're just going to hire someone who's not a part of the shop,
Well, you
has
should
no
try to apply
management
again.
experience. And well, I could, but I don't really want to.
Because like shop foreman, they're still in the shop though, right? Because I was.
Well, it's more of a lead hand. It's not much of a foreman.
more paperwork. Yeah.
No,
just-
not almost none.
Hmm.
Like we already divvy up the foreman tasks already between us. So like I order hydraulic fittings and hose and parts for the Volvos, and another guy orders more specific parts for like the equipment.
So what does the foreman do?
Well, that would have been it.
Oh, okay.
And pick
Just
up
the more
parts and
specific
stuff. Like it's pretty easy stuff, but like yeah. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that. We'll see what happens. But
Usually you have to quit to get, like, it's very rarely you'll get promoted within the company, especially if you're being the only ticketed mechanic in the shop. You've made yourself too valuable to get promoted.
Exactly.
There's no incentive for them to do that for you. You pretty much have to quit and come back.
Well, and actually, that's funny
That's
that you
risky.
say that, because I watched a video of a guy. It wasn't like a blue collar thing, but it was a guy who is in sales, and he was just started with the company. He's been like 2 years in, you know, getting like awards for sales and stuff like that. And then they're bullshitting at like a party because for him, and the other salesmen are asking, "Oh, what are you making?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm making like 50 grand a year." And they all laugh. They're like, "What? We're making like 120." And they're not even getting the sales that he is. So then he went to his boss. He went to his boss and asked for a raise. He's like, "Well, I want to make 100 grand." And the guy's like, "Well, that's like a 30% increase. Like we can't do that." And he's like, "Okay." Then he quit. And then they ended up calling him back. And then he made like 170.
That's risky though. Like
It's a dicey move to make, but
you should have a backup, like at least.
well, that's
It
the thing.
depends what
Like
you
being
do
in
for a
sales, like a
yeah.
competitor would probably pick him up, but like for me, wouldn't be that bad for me because I could just literally go to any dealership and make more,
Yeah,
like
maybe
more
you
an
should
hour.
Why wouldn't you do that?
make that call then.
Well, because it's super lax where I'm working right now. Like,
But that's a kind of a stupid reason to stay, like just because.
well, I'm not making bad
Yeah.
money though.
All right. Well, that's how they get you. Those they pay you over. You make more overtime, so well, you're gonna make more money here, so we'll pay you less an hour. Like, that's stupid.
Well, I make 35 an hour. It's definitely on the high end for a fleet. I don't know what, I know at a dealer I could make over 40, but the overtime will be no.
Like, I've greased myself into getting it. Well, I haven't got it yet, but I'm gonna get it because there's nobody else to take it. But greased myself into getting a higher pay grade and a little different job just by threatening to quit. They wanted me to stay, and I said, "Nope, there's no point in staying here. I'd make more money if I went back to what I was doing before. So I'm doing like a temporary position." "Oh, okay. Well, we'll just extend you anyways, even though you said no, because we don't want to lose you. And we're going to write up a new made-up job for you to do at a higher pay grade."
Yeah, see,
Sounds
I,
like,
I,
oh,
Okay, well, I'll think about it.
I couldn't
that's
do
just
that.
good. That's just good negotiation.
Like I couldn't, like there's no made up task for me to get done. Like,
Well, it's not made up. It's a made-up job title.
yeah, well, there is none for me. Like,
They
what are
can
they
make
gonna
one
make up? What are they going to make up? I still do the same work.
It doesn't matter. They can make, you just call it whatever they want.
Hmm.
Well, it kind of sounds like shop foreman's kind of made up.
Like they're
Well,
they're
yeah,
still
right now.
working.
my job is called, the current job I do is called a staff officer. What does that mean? Exactly. What is this made up job I'm going to get? A technical officer 2.
Well, I've seen those job postings for the company that I used to work with.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
always
mean-
wondered what the hell is
It
that.
doesn't mean anything. It's just a job title they have internally. You could work across the whole company. It'll have the same job title, but you will not do even close to the same things. It's just something in HR, because like the office people don't have a clue what people actually do. They don't even know what the company does, right? They just show up every day and go, "Ooh." Like,
Well, that's true because I always get random emails like, welcome to the company, and then they'll have a face and then some random position. I'm like, what does that do? Like, what's going on? Who are these people making money that I don't know? Like some random position. Like, what?
we have a whole department of marketing. Marketing to who? Marketing what?
Oh yeah, yours. You don't need.
There's no marketing. There's no reason. There's no need.
You
to
are
have
the
it.
only provider.
Yeah, you're forced to use us, whether you like it or not. So why do we have people in marketing?
What a
Why
waste
do
of
we
money.
care? about having brand recognition. Everybody knows.
Yeah. Everyone has to pay power, so
Where are you gonna go? The other outfit in town? There isn't one. Like, they waste so much money on like crap like that.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do in the future, but like I wanted to. So I joined the railroad to get out of mechanics, and then it just sucked me back in. I know I've said this quite a few times. I want to get I want to be able to move up. Like I just don't want to feel stuck. Like I want to be in a manager's position. Like I don't want to turn wrenches anymore. Like
Well, that's kind of getting back to the silent quitting too. You may need to try harder again,
oh no,
but like
I thought about that too. Being a tryhard just makes them like you more and doesn't actually further your career advance.
No, they can't. They can't promote you if you're too good at your job.
Like, oh well, this
Unless
guy's super
there's-
dependable. Like
unless there's a replacement for you.
Yeah,
There isn't.
trainer replacement, hire a replacement, which I guess
they're
you
not going
can't.
to do that.
Then quit.
Well, I
Quit
don't know.
and then
I
wait
can't
for it-
quit yet. Like I don't have anything. But
I know, but
It's-
start quitting, figure it out, and hire. And then once they'll have to replace you. Once they do, good. Then when that foreman position or whatever the shop, whatever they call it, their position comes out, if they bid it external, apply for it external, there's a good chance you'll be able. Then you'll be able to get the job.
As long as you quit on good terms.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
But-
actually, I have been looking at newer or other jobs, and I did find this one job, and it kind of makes me think like maybe I should go and get my off-road ticket, because I saw this one job and it's for an oil field, or I think it might have been mining, but it's a company that pays 200,000 a year salary, and you could live anywhere in Canada. They fly you out. It's all in their ad. You don't even have to bring tools with you. Just bring PPE. They give you a boot allowance and everything like that, and they just fly you out. You work your cycle and then you fly home.
What's the cycles?
I can't remember. It was
Probably
a lot.
2 weeks on, 2 weeks off type thing.
Something like
which is
that.
tough.
But for 200,000 a year, and then I thought to myself, and I'm grossly underpaid if that's what they're paying guys to fly out somewhere.
Oh man, off-road stuff is big time. Even Cat here.
Oh,
local,
yeah.
You go up north in our province and you're making big bucks too.
Yep.
I'm
And
surprised our other buddy doesn't do that, but I mean, he's got some health issues, I guess.
well, like I was thinking, like even like anything local isn't going to be like super big pay. It's going to
No.
be just like your typical home life pay, 40, 35 and up basically. But if you work like in the oil patch, even if you're a rig mechanic, mines, big money, but you're gone a lot. It's kind
That's
of
just
a
like
toss
the
up.
railroad.
Some
too.
of those shifts are crazy good though, like a 2 week on, 2 week off. That would be awesome.
That would be pretty sweet. I'd probably be cool with that, because you could
'Cause
just
you
make
can
a
have a second
shitload of
job.
money and then just come home and do
whatever
nothing
you want.
or get
I don't
another
know,
job.
When I was doing 10 and 4s in the railroad, I hated 10 days. Like that extra 2 days I got home on the 8 and 6 made a huge difference. Those last 2 days to make it were just, you start hating everybody on your crew. Everybody's getting agitated. Everybody's just drinking more. You just want to get home and relax.
Well, see, I like the 10 and 4 because that was the most money. But also, I didn't have much responsibility like you. Like, I lived with Buddy. You had your own house. Like, you had your own property, so you had to take care of that shit. And if you have to spend 4 days mowing lawn and taking care of stuff, it ain't much relaxing going on.
Yeah, that's true.
But if 14 on, 14 off, you have 14 days off.
Oh, yeah. And
Oh
I'd
my
work.
Christ, could you imagine the lawn after 2 weeks?
Oh,
Like,
I would need.
frick.
Well, you'd still have a lawnmower. I had to buy a swather,
You have to get
Get
farm
a-
equipment.
get a hay bind to pull behind my lawnmower so that I could come back
Yeah.
then and then cut the grass with the.
But then you
actual
got
mower.
2 weeks off to do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah,
right?
but if I'm working at 14 and 14, I'll pay the neighbor $100 probably have to be more than $100 to cut my grass. But
Well,
Yeah, that's
frick, the
true.
amount of money that you make on a 2-week gig like that, making 200,000 a year,
yeah,
$100.
a lot of those shifts are 7 and 7 though, which to me
That's
is
nice.
it is nice for home life. But I'd like to be able to, like, if I came and worked at 14, I'd probably work like, for a few days of the other 14.
That's definitely what I miss a lot doing my own business now. I get regular weekends now, 2 days off. If I force myself, because there's a lot of customers that are still calling, oh, can you help me do this or whatever, or can you do this on the weekend?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them all no now because I have no time to do anything, not even maintenance. All my maintenance is done on the weekends now because we only have 2 days.
Yeah.
And then try to cram in some fun activities in the summer. Like, it's tough.
Well, yeah,
5
but
and
like
2,
as a business starting up, you basically have to work your ass off.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then you make no money, and nobody knows who you are.
Yeah, it's true.
So the more you work, the more your name's out there. And that's what my last business owner was saying. Like, he worked like 20 hours a day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of similar to us too, because like once you're finished the physical labor at the site, you come home and then there's probably more setup to do for the next day, and you're working until it's dark, and then you got to catch up on quotes and computer work after that yet too in the house. So I'm definitely missing the 6 days off type thing, because I had a whole routine around that. I had a list going of things I'd like to get done around the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had 6 days to do that, so I'd hammer those off no problem at my own leisurely pace. But now this 2 days off thing, frick, I can't even get to my list. I have to schedule everything I do in my calendar. So not only work, I'm scheduling my calendar, I'm scheduling leisure activities in my calendar.
Yeah.
So it's pretty...
No spontaneous activities.
No, it's all business now.
Oh my God, dude. Like, I mean, that's the name of the game, though. Like,
Yeah.
eventually it gets better. Like, the more years you do it, like, you get, like, you know, specific customers. And
Yeah, and I'm way happier now where I'm at than working on the railway road, that's for sure. Nice home life and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I'm still working alone, so once I start hiring people, then I could at least maybe get a little more relaxing time.
Yeah, start a crew and
Yeah, that's
send them
ideal.
out and stuff. Oh, well, I don't know if I could do that, but like, it's just such a. Well, personally, I don't know anything about that shit. Like,
It's not as hard as you think if you want to set up your own business. I mean, you're a mechanic, so
I
you
mean, I
kinda need
could
the
take my
facilities.
shit on the road, I suppose. Like,
A lot of
But,
guys
yeah.
do that. My dad gets guys like to come from the
Man.
the dealership. They come and do motors and stuff.
Then you don't even need a building and all that stuff. You just need a rig, truck.
Not even
Yeah.
a truck. These guys showed up, 2 of them in a Jetta TDI, and like, yeah, they come in and they'll do an in-frame.
from Pete.
Holy shit.
I think I know who those guys are.
Like, we gotta get all the parts and everything from Peterbilt and everything, obviously, and they just show up and do.
Well, maybe because they know
They
your
was-
dad. Your dad is set up, though.
Yeah, well, they show up and do a cylinder. You know, pull ahead, pull ahead, do the sleeve, whatever, in and
Wow.
out.
Yeah, but financially, it's way easier to set up a rig than to set up a shop.
Well, it'd be nicer to have a rig because you could have a crane and all that crap put on it.
You could do that. Yeah, my wife's dad actually does that for a big contractor that works up north all the time. And he's just an off-road mechanic that contracts himself out to them.
Yeah, I knew this guy from Volvo when I worked there. He was telling me that he had his own rig and everything. Cost like quite a bit of money. I think it was like a F550 with the service body and a crane. It came up to like 150,000 at the time. It's not like this is pre-COVID days.
They're going
pricing.
for quite cheap on the Ritchie auctions now, actually.
Yeah, like, and he was telling me that he would just drive around like and fix people's trucks around the oil patch, and he said he worked like ridiculously long hours, like going from truck to truck, driving all over the place, but he made like a shitload of money doing it.
Yeah, I bet. You could start that on the side too, even.
You just can't have a nice truck.
Well, no, like you gotta find. If I were to pick a service truck, I'd have to get something reliable, and that's the hard part. Probably do.
It's because you don't like vehicles that are reliable. Like, you just, I don't know what it is, but you just love shit that breaks
Well,
down. You are a typical mechanic.
If I were to do a work truck, it would probably be Ford F750. They come with a Cummins and an Allison. So right there,
Perfect
it's not
combo.
bad.
And the best part with the F750 is how disgustingly ugly they are.
Oh yeah, but reliable. It's the same engine that's in your truck,
Yep.
and Allison transmission's a heavy duty one because it's like a semi basically, and you don't need it's air, but you don't need a class 3 to drive it.
What?
I don't think so.
No, it's only single axle,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an automatic. So then you
Oh,
don't even
yeah.
you don't even know how to drive. You just go.
Yeah. We've had a few. You probably have those on the railroad, but they look like thermite trucks.
Oh yeah, I used to drive those actually.
Yeah.
PTO
Can't
air
believe I forgot
compressor and a
that.
PTO.
Yeah.
hydraulic
Yeah,
pump
and they
for your
have
crane.
the
Yeah.
thermite trucks
Crane.
setup is perfect because they have like all the toolboxes on the side and they have the crane on the back, and you could use that.
Yeah, I was in butt welding, so we had the same truck.
You can get real big units though, like too. Like we've at work, we've got some of those single axle ones, but they're like internationals.
Yeah, like Caterpillar has.
but they're huge. Like they're big trucks.
Yeah, Caterpillar has like international looking ones, and they're big. And a couple of the guys like they're allowed to take them home, which is pretty.
Yeah, but I
sweet.
think it all comes down to maintenance though for vehicles and trucks and stuff.
Yeah, but like I wouldn't buy
Nice about
mid
air brake
2000s
stuff.
6-liter or shit like that, because
No,
the
there's
last thing I want
definitely-
is for the thing to not stop running while I'm in the middle of working.
Like airbag and air brake trucks are pretty like parts are cheap.
Hmm.
And they're pretty reliable.
Like, you
It's
can get those-
drain the air tank, keep the alcohol bottle topped up, drive.
Like the F750s don't have any emissions. Like they don't do regen or anything like that. Like the older ones.
Oh
Yeah.
God. Okay, so at the railway that I worked with, when I first started, I was on what's called a snow gang.
No,
And
snow
you're just-
removal.
Yeah, you're just cleaning switches, cleaning snow in a giant yard in the city. And they had the F550s with the cranes and stuff, like basically thermite trucks. And they would never leave the yard. Yeah, so none of the trucks left the yard. So I got this brilliant idea, because I was a mechanic before, to take them all out on the highway and force a regen. So I did one after another each day, just putting them into limp mode, basically, because they're so clogged up that they go into regen and it limp mode. So 30 kilometers an hour back to the shop, and here you go, supervisor. I fixed your truck for you.
Yeah.
Cost them a lot of money.
Jeez. Well, whatever. Fuck. You tried to do something nice for them. Like, well, how are you supposed to know that would happen?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, after the first time, maybe.
Well, frick, they should be maintaining them properly, and the emissions these days are not meant to be sitting and idling. It's a shame because that's what a work truck does: sits and idles.
Yeah, exactly. Like all our trucks at work have more idle time than driving time. Like
Yeah.
it's new, like semis that are like in 2007 have like 80,000 K, but like freaking 40,000 hours of idling or something ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
oh, anyway, so we ended up losing one of our crew. He had to go do shit, so he came for a little bit. I mean, he came for half hour, but we're just gonna make this podcast probably 45 minutes. We're at the 37-minute mark now, so we're not doing too much left, but we do have a little bit of shit on the list. Funny thing is, your brother told me to ask you about some stuff that I think I'm going to ask you now. So I knew about this from back in the day too, but back in the day you were a little bit of a hooligan and helped yourself to someone's Winnebago. You want to tell us about that?
Well, a little backstory around that whole summer really broke my back as a kid. I was like 15 years old.
Oh, that's right. You're big dirt biker when you were a kid.
Yeah, so I think that like messed me up a little mentally. I didn't know it at the time, but definitely sent me into like a rebellious phase at 15, which was not the character I was for sure.
Or the
And
character
then-
you are now. Definitely not like that
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah. But so I was hanging out with these two friends. One questionable character. I don't know how he is now. I'm sure he's fine, but back in the day he was on the bad side. And then this other buddy of mine, he was another good kid like me. I don't know how we got roped into it, but we would go out and borrow people's cars.
The funny thing is, and then you would bring them back and they wouldn't even know.
No, like we didn't damage or nothing. We just drove around and then returned it. Like we just had an itch to frickin' drive and do whatever. And this one just happened to be, it was a country yard. Like I hate these people that do this stuff now as a homeowner and property owner living out in the country. I would frickin' be so pissed if somebody did this. This is why I lock all my vehicles or park them inside. because you would not know how many people leave their keys in their vehicle. It's ridiculous.
Oh, and
Because we would just walk around and then open a door, there's keys in it, you drive around for a little bit and then park it back. But so we ended up at this farmyard and there was this camper van there, Winnebago thing or whatever. Hop in it, fire it up. The guy's watching TV inside. We drive away. He doesn't even notice. Can't even remember what we were doing, but freaking driving down the back roads, gravel roads. The other guy had some other truck that he damaged the vehicles. I never damaged one vehicle that I borrowed. The other guy sure did, the bad apple there. Driving into the ditch, left it there. I think I pulled it out with the Winnebago. Not sure, but went to the gas station even with it. Filled it up. Had no idea what fuel to put in it. We just put gas in it. I think it was a diesel because it was hard running when we got back. Got back, freaking just let it coast into the driveway in neutral and ran away.
That's so
freaking. I don't know why my brother wanted to hear that story, but yeah.
That brings
Bad
me a mutual friend of your brother and mine. He had this old piece of shit Explorer. I think it was a 90s Explorer.
The donk.
Yeah, we nicknamed it the donk, and
the communal vehicle.
The communal
basically.
vehicle, and it was in no way. If anyone knows what a donk is that listens, it wasn't a donk.
I didn't even know what
It was just a
donk was
piece
at
of
that
shit.
age. Yeah.
And yeah, when he got it, it was mint. It was
from
a pretty
Stab.
minty truck. Like it had leather and everything, had like a deck in it and shit. Like it was a nice vehicle. And then over the course of a year, it had no more interior panels. The seats were slashed. It had no sunroof because we kicked it out.
Oh
and
my God.
the exhaust fell off. And it was so loud. And
I helped fix that exhaust. We wrapped a chain from inside the cab to underneath the body and then just slammed the door shut.
Well, were you there when it died on the way to the gas station and we had to push it like...
I think so. Yeah, one block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And...
Because
my
it was always
God.
on E. Anybody who took it, because he would allow us just to show up and take it whenever we wanted, any time of day, any time of night. And it would always be on E. So you bring 5 liters or whatever with you, toss it in, and you're good to go for the night.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Oh my God. Like I remember, well, we were all poor. Like he didn't even have money to fill it up himself.
Yeah.
And well, that one day you took it, what the heck did you do? You like stole the mayor's Halloween stuff?
Yeah, see, so that was with the same 2 people that we did the Winnebago thing. One bad apple. I'm driving those 2 around because it's my buddy's vehicle, not theirs. So I'm like, okay, I'll take responsibility. Driving around, no license. And then they're like,
with
stop
a
here.
license.
Yeah. I mean, those 2 had licenses. I didn't. I wanted to drive. I had the itch. But so like one bad apple was like, oh, pull over here. And I stop, and he fucking runs and goes grab some Christmas ornaments. I don't know what time of year it was, but certainly wasn't Christmas.
It was definitely winter.
It was winter, but far off from Christmas. And it turned out to be the mayor's house that he stole his giant snowman decoration, shoved it in the donk, and we took off, and he chased us immediately. So I panicked. I didn't know this town. It was a different town than ours. So I'm ripping around town, and we get to a freaking dead end, and they bail. They just instantly get out and bail, so I couldn't turn around or anything, so I bailed with them. I ran back, shut all the doors, locked them, because it's not my vehicle. I gotta make sure it doesn't get stolen or whatever. And then we hide out at one of their friends' house. And we eventually get tracked down. The cops call our buddy who owns the vehicle, and then they call us.
Yeah, because I was at the bar with him, and he got a call.
Yeah.
He's like, "What?" The police called him. He's like, "Hey, are you with your truck?" And he's like, "No, I'm at the bar." Like, "Oh, it was stolen." Oh, yeah,
borrowed.
Even like he wasn't gonna rat you guys out or anything.
Yeah, no, he was an awesome friend for allowing us to even freaking do that. Like,
Oh
it's
man,
amazing.
there's been times with that beater. Like, there's a few pictures on Facebook of us. We took it camping once, and oh my God, it leaked all the coolant out. So we're like, oh, we don't have any coolant, but we have coolers with like melted ice water, and we're like, oh, let's just fill it up. So we found out, oh yeah, it's leaking out the rad pretty bad. So we're like, we're gonna have to like get home somehow. So we freaking just pepper and eggs in the rad, and it actually worked.
Classic.
Oh my god, that was such a greasy,
That's hilarious.
funny time. Like, and then of course his dad got like super mad. The truck was all messed up. Like,
That was a year or two, whatever, how long we had that thing, but it felt like a lifetime. Like, we explored so many areas, so many pit parties we went to with that thing, and
pit parties. Off-roading was a big one. I had to rescue that truck quite a few times with my parents' Ford.
Oh, yeah. We even took that thing to the city with no licenses, and it didn't have a radio, so we were picking up some girls in it trying to show off. A DeWalt stereo inside of it to play music for them. Showing off, taking them to McDonald's, the frickin' donk.
Oh man, that was so funny. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then now, still, when we get older and move out, we got all those field beaters and raced them around too. The old farm site I had.
Yeah. Oh man, the field beaters were fun. I definitely miss the field beaters. And the sad part is you can't even do that these days. Like,
no, like we were buying them for $300, $400 a pop.
yeah,
And now what are they at?
like $1,500 to $2,000 here now for something junky. Like,
Yeah, you can't be smashing that up. That's for sure.
no, like if you, well, I mean, it's just sickening.
Neither of us own the amount of property I had anyways anymore, so
We couldn't do it
Not much
anyways, but
point.
like if we wanted to, we couldn't. Like,
no, it's just
the price of shit on Kijiji is, and people in our province are so cheap.
yeah.
Like, you try to sell something and you'll get like 30 people lowballing heavy.
But then try and sell something for super high. It's just our freaking culture here in this
Yeah.
province, I believe.
And that's, honestly, it's because of I think it's because of the lowballing. It's clearly a big enough issue that people purposely put a ridiculous price.
Oh yeah, go higher and then just get lowballed and accept it.
Yeah.
But like back in the day, $300, you freaking have a couple of weekends of fun out of that car, jumping it, racing it,
Oh yeah, crashing
modifying
it.
smashing trees that we didn't want to hit.
Yeah, like the field beaters was definitely a good time, and I'm glad we had a time like that because we couldn't do it today.
No, and it was so much fun too, just modifying the cars, like flipping headers over, making our own headers, shooting flames out, hood scoops, like just chopping the hood and
Oh,
scooping
man.
it, painting it up, like super cheap, super fun, and you got like the chance to race around a vehicle. Not on any professional track, but we tried our best
Actually,
to make it
just-
professional.
I-
I took the dozer out and plowed the snow nice and packed it.
Oh yeah, it was like a legit rally car.
Oh yeah,
course.
around 160
And we
acres.
timed
It was-
ourselves too,
Yeah.
and we were getting good.
It was nice.
Like threading the needle between. You remember you had two barbed wire gates that kind of blocked your yard off, and it kind of was like the entrance to your other
Yeah.
field. And we'd come in hot, right, and like perfectly come in sideways, like between.
Yeah, and that was the S curve.
Yeah, and then get into like that longer straightaway, and then no, it was just before the S curve because the gate, it would be like where your house is, and then drive through like a shitty, like where the big
that
hill
one.
was.
Yeah.
I guess you could call that a bigger S curve because we kind of went around where the swamp, right near the. It's not really swamp, but it was where we didn't drive. But the track I kind of remember went right to the hill, and then you took a left hard, then took a right, and then
Oh, yeah.
there was that gate, I think, or the gate might have been before the hill.
No, the gate was after the tree that you hit.
No, that's another gate.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't hit that. Well, yeah.
Well, let's hear the story about that. What happened there?
Well, it's you, man.
Me.
Yeah, you pulled the e-brake
Oh.
while I was
I
driving.
was just a co-pilot.
No. You're supposed to be the guy like left, uphill, right, and like
Yeah,
a
and
rally
I
car
thought
driver.
I figured I'd take a little more initiative and just be a
Driver.
drifter. I entered his drift for him with the e-brake, where I would usually start drifting, and he just drove straight into the tree instead.
Oh, yeah. That's not what happened. But whatever. We'll let that slide. I actually just thought of something.
It was good times.
because your younger brother and his friend would come out quite a bit, and they were always our co-pilots, right? Like they
Yeah.
would never drive them, but I remember we had, I think it was my Integra, and we went to, your brother had two friends over, and then we ended up going to the bar with the field beater, and then this one guy kind of picked up this chick, and she's like, oh, you guys should all come back and I'll make you guys food and stuff. So we go back to her place, just renting like a shitty fucking little
Yeah.
townhouse
I
or
barely
something.
remember this.
Yeah, like, so we go there. I think we walked there because it was like within walking distance from the bar.
I think so.
We go to her place and she's like, oh, I only have enough food for one person. And that kind of pissed me off.
Why would you invite us then?
Yeah, exactly. So the guy that she invited over, I was sitting beside him on the couch. He was passed out. And then you, me, and your brother stole her wallet. And you took her roommate's tin of chew.
Oh, well, yeah, you gotta take that.
And then I took all the TV remotes.
Oh my god.
Because I find that so funny. Because like you're hungover, you wake up like, oh, I'm just gonna watch TV and hang out because my head hurts. No,
Yeah.
you ain't watching TV because I threw all your remotes outside in the bush.
Oh my god. I think my brother, I think he returned those,
No,
or did he just chuck them in the ditch?
no. What happened was
I thought we
think
went back the next
me
day
and
and returned those.
Me and him went to the gas station the next day because I needed gas in the fuel beater, and you stayed home with the one other guy. I think maybe both. Oh yeah, it was definitely both because it was the next day we all went home or back to your place, and me and him went to get gas. No, you were definitely with us, and he hummed her wallet out in the ditch on the way up to town. And then we got to the gas station, and I guess she worked at frickin' Chicken Chef. You remember that? And then she got a friend of hers to come and ask us about the wallet.
Oh man.
And we just outright lied and said, no, we don't have it. It's not in here.
Oh, we were
Because she
pieces
thought
of
she,
shit.
like, it, cause maybe we drove to her house, but like it was so close. I don't think I remember her getting in the field beater.
Yeah, I can't remember that at all, but all I know is we were pieces of shit back then.
Oh yeah, that was definitely just a dirt bag of a move.
Yeah, learning experiences.
But we were young and dumb. We just didn't care. But I would never do something like that nowadays. Like,
Oh hell no.
I'd probably return it. I'd be like, oh, I found your shit. Here you go.
There's so many things that we did when we were younger. Like, I mean, you don't really regret many things because you didn't cause too much harm to too many people, but
Not life altering.
no. But oh my god.
No, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I just found like some of the shit that I did in the past was so funny. Like, I don't know why I did it, but it was
It's
just
got to be the hormones
because-
because nowadays you don't even think that it would be possible to have that action. Like,
no, but like back in the
Oh.
day, like egg houses, like,
there's
just
a lot of
teenager
liquor, too.
shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe it was just because the adrenaline rush that I remember one time me and my friends were,
Alcohol fueled hormones.
yeah,
basically.
well, me and my friends would like, we had this like group called the Yard Running Homies. And all we'd do is we'd get the like kicks out of running through people's backyards in town. And it was just so dumb now that I
That's
think about it.
innocent. Yeah.
But that's another story for another day. Anyways, I'm going to wrap up the podcast. Don't forget to rate it on your select platform and subscribe and hit the bell button. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys later.